What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Broc.
I'm Mike.
I'm Broc, and tonight we're joined by Rob Swarm Beaubien.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
Good.
And we're
Thanks for
talking
having me.
bootlegs. Sorry, I cut you off. That's what I do.
Oh, all good. All good.
So yeah, recently Rob's done two different sets of bootlegs that we're going to discuss here tonight. And yeah, I'll just kick it over to you.
All right, cool. Again, thanks for having me. Yeah, the first one, this came out what was it, June? And Hades, Ghost of Terror, I'm sorry, Ghost of Terror and Meteor Storm. And Meteor Storm was the earliest. I was back when we did whatever they were in, 2093. Does that sound right? The reimagined sets?
I think so.
Yeah, so I started working on these at that time because at that time I thought maybe they'd be like a convention release, or something like that, or a promoter prime release, and it just didn't work out. So I ended up deciding just to do it on my own.
Cool.
And I think what happened was I told Butcher about it, and he wanted to get, he had idea for a Ghost for what was his name before, Disciple of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. I like that idea. I like that character. I thought he was ready for an update. And he didn't really, other than the name, he didn't have any general instructions. So he pretty much let me do what I wanted to do with it. And it's not, if you look at it, it's pretty obvious. He just got better. And then we added the Dreadnought Distractor rating for the Ghost, which I think worked out really well. It's not exactly explained if it's really a ghost or if it's some kind of trick he's got up his sleeve. It's kind of that classic, like, who knows mystery. And people seem to like him. And he's, if we had done Dreadnought, like we just done a Kronos card for Dreadnought, it would be this exact same thing. Same card, almost the same stats. It's really what that is. It's inspired by the 2092 Dreadnought.
Okay.
So if we were to take that card and put him on Kronos, this is probably what it would be. But we got the whole story with the Disciple of Terror, who started out in FTR. I try to remember now. It's been so long. He started out in FTR, then I think I forget how we got to the second one. Maybe that was Promoter Prime. But
I believe
anyway,
it was, yeah.
yeah, and then he made his way. He made his way to Kronos. I forget exactly how it happened, but yeah, that character was due. He was, if I remember correctly, maybe he was in the Champions Oath, and he was kind of like that first guy, um, in the pecking order. So yeah, he was ready for something else. I like his story, with the survivors. That's obviously something that's going to be temporary. Um, should that story continue, whatever. It's not supposed to be a forever uh, union. They're definitely just used each other at the moment. And then Meteor Storm, again, they were the first idea I had, and there's basic updates. I want them to be like mid card, good enough to go out there and have some good matches, but not a complete, like, complete alternate universe where they're dominant. And I wish I had written it a little bit differently, where they were actually more associated with Hades, and I guess I can still do that. But I wish I'd introduced them that way, because I didn't, and it seems like people want them to be a group, and I think that'd be cool. So in my own Fed, they're kind of like lost in the shuffle a little bit. It's not necessarily lost in the shuffle, but they're I think they might have benefited more if they were directly associated with Hades.
Oh, we know about things being lost in the shuffle, let me tell you.
That's my catchphrase.
Oh, is it? Okay, great. Well, there you go. So there's my first drop. So there's yeah, but I love them. I mean, I love what Werner did with just the colors. Like, I remember telling them I wanted them done in that old wrestling, whatever he does there, whatever Todd did with that old wrestling.
Mhm.
Remember that stuff?
Yeah, the sepia tone.
LVE. They were like yellow and brown.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted. And if you saw, I might even have them on my, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and scroll on my phone. But
Yeah, I scrolled back. You sent them to me. If you're
okay,
looking
perfect.
in early April.
Yeah, yeah. So I wish now that I see how they look printed, yeah, that just looks, look at that. Beautiful. I mean, that's amazing. I think
It's
so.
really nice art.
Yeah, it's just you a lot of it goes away. You miss a lot of it when they're shrunken down like this. Like if you look at Astro Crook, he's got a lot of detail. He's holding that bull rope. He's got on the leather hat, and you miss a lot of that with the big wand. It is cool.
Yeah.
But
There
it's
we
more
go.
like that would have been cool to put like on the website or something, and I don't know, whatever.
Mhm.
But I get like that. I get weird like that, anal like that.
Yeah,
But
it came out pretty good.
yeah, look how nice that looks. Man, Werner's something else.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he really is. That's as good as anything else out there. So yeah, so pretty happy with those three. Have you guys had a chance to use them at all at any matches?
Not much, no.
Well, I
I
should probably talk about Hades. Huh? He's the main guy.
I have plans for Buckshot and Astro Crook to come into to my junior fed to start off.
Cool.
And since I kind of, people give me cards, but I always make my own storylines.
Oh
Ghost
yeah.
of Bear is literally going to be. I'm thinking of introducing him as Dreadnought's son.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of that stuff myself right now, my own fed. I just I'm into the Chrono stuff a lot, obviously. And it's I just like it better. Best way to put it. I just enjoy it. I enjoy the game no matter what I'm playing. You could
Mhm.
give me almost any two cards, I enjoy the game, but storyline wise, character wise, factions wise, things like that, I just get more into it.
Understandable.
Which is weird for me because I was always like, the main storyline guy.
Mhm.
So Hades. Um Hades, Mike wanted me to hold off on doing this because of the whole early, same with Omega, with the whole early classics coming out. And you guys have seen the early classics set, right? Nothing
Mhm.
like at all. So
No.
nothing. So I'm glad we did this. And these cards got out to a lot of people, as you can tell by the boards. I'm not sure how many more they would have gotten out to had they been done officially, but I am proud to say that they got out to a lot of people. And I think it's cool. I think this is night and day compared to what Mike's vision for the character was, and this is a bit of an upgrade, new name. Um, again, similar to Ghost. If you look at his blue card, this is just an update to that. Just a couple add ones. The finishers got better, power, agility. Nothing wild mechanically wise, and I think people are happy with it. He certainly has some great matches with Omega in my fit.
Mhm.
And I think that's what people were looking for. I think they were looking for a Morpheus card that could compete with Omega. And the Omega card we did for Kronos is great, very strong.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think this is a good enemy for that card.
It was the
I
first
also
match I
think,
rolled whenever I got them. It was that Omega versus Hades.
Yeah.
Hades won.
And they look really nice against each other with all the red and Omega with the blue, just like the little blue and red dice, kind of like very symbolic. Werner did a really excellent job with that art, I thought. He does, he seems to, it's interesting. Like when you see Tom will share a bunch of different poses, like with Nosfera, there was 4 or 5 different poses. It's interesting how different people work. I think Mike and I are more like this is exactly what I'm looking for. Where Tom might be like, hey, I have different ideas, and I want to see which one I like most.
Mhm.
So what I'm getting at is I gave him a reference piece, and I got this in the first drawing. All these guys, and even the which we can move to next if you like, is the Defenders of the Realm. First sketch I got, that was it. There was no add this or remove this or change that. And a lot of, I don't know if that's me knowing exactly what I'm looking for, which I often do.
Mhm.
I feel like I give very short but strong descriptions of what I'm looking for. And I always leave open a little room for Werner to do his thing, which he
Now,
often does.
I was gonna say, I think you are probably one of the only people doing bootlegs of Sentra.
Kronos, you mean?
Cronus, yeah, sorry, Cronus. Because a lot of people go right into the either Legends or the actual game. I think you're probably the only guy that I know of making bootlegs for Cronus that I've seen or even had people talk about.
Mhm.
Probably. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, I think Kronos is something that like you can dive into at any time. Not that you can't dive into the main story at any time, but it's really nice to be able to use whoever you want to use at any time. And it doesn't like it makes sense.
Mhm.
You're not bending any major rules.
Right.
And it's got that bridge back to the main timeline at all times. So it's just always there. Jump at you could, I mean, even with you, I don't know exactly what year you're in, Mike, but I know you're back in the earlier mid years.
Yep,
Where are you at right now?
2105.
I don't remember exactly what GWF year Kronos was introduced. I want to say it was the year that Colossus and Heracles showed up because it was Colossus against
That's
Chaos or
2099, I
Infinity
think.
Plex, something like that. Chaos against Infinity, Colossus against Infinity Plex in the book. So whatever that was, and I don't remember what year that was.
I think it's 2099 or
2005.
2098.
Yeah,
It was
somewhere around
fairly
that
early on.
2100 area. So you could do Kronos, is my point.
Oh yeah,
Anybody, and that's what's nice about it. And it's why like I wish it'd be nice to see it more embraced more. Tom getting more into it because he's always talking about new players and jumping on points. Well, this is something that any player at any point can jump into.
Yep.
You
Mhm.
could be at 20 any point from what we just talked about, 2098, which is a while. Obviously much more than we've gotten in with the reimagined sets, but still lots of game years there. So, it's one of those things that he started and just stopped doing, I guess. You can't do everything forever.
Mhm.
It would be impossible and it would probably become redundant. But to have different authors and writers like Mike does Sentra, I was doing Kronos, I was doing FTR. Um, I thought it offered fans quite a bit. I don't want to say alternate because they can still around alternate, but just different options. And with Tom writing GWF once a year, it was nice to get COTG sets regularly.
I agree.
So I try. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep that going with the Chrono stuff because there's only so many spots available officially
Right.
every year, and now it's even less. There used to be 5, now there's 4, and I think Tom's retired now. I don't really know details, but I think he's doing more. Is my point. That he's got this women's thing going on, women's set stuff. I don't think he would have done when he was teaching full time.
Mhm.
So point being is this he has more as the creator, he should he get lots of ideas. And if there's only 4 quarters, and then if Kronos doesn't get done for a while, it's hard to kind of sit there and wait and not really know. And they got away from the exclusive cards. That used to be a big outlet for Kronos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chaos, Omega, Sectarian, Paralyzed. So those windows closed. So this is what I'm left with. And I think it's working other than that mailing taking forever. That was I don't know what to do about that. That was crazy, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, it
I
took
was
me like a
tough.
month to get the cards in, I think.
Dude, it was 2 months. It was crazy. I was convinced that like they got destroyed. I don't know. I was very happy to find out that they finally started to arrive.
Mhm.
But
There's
it's
still a
all,
few people out there that haven't gotten them, believe it or not. TK says he didn't get them. and then someone else, I forget. But everyone got them, and there was almost 100 there. So
Nice.
So we can show the cards here. They
Yeah.
form a little picture. You have the Mad Bishop. This is the Mad Bishop,
yes,
the Exo Knight, and the Ace of Diamonds. Now, out of the three here, the Mad Bishop is my favorite.
I think
I
a lot
just,
of people feel that way. Thank you.
yeah, I was a fan of both Bishop Hell and Mad Jester. That's never been a secret. I had them as a tag team, and I still have them as a tag team. And you combined them, and I'm gonna have now. Even though I don't wrestle Kronos, he's not. His card isn't enough where he could, dominate. So I'm gonna be able to use him in my regular Fed. So
Cool.
that's what I'm excited about.
I forget what year it was. Maybe you guys remember. What year was it that Tom brought back Bishop Hell and he had that real up close fire hand?
I think that was 21, 25.
Something like that. But that's when the Bishop Hell cult story. This guy, it wasn't the original one, it was a different Bishop Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I was working real closely with Tom on stuff, and he wanted to bring back Bishop Hell and he needed a way to do it. And that's something we came up with together. And I love that story. I thought this is like almost like a Tiger Mask thing where you could bring in a Bishop Hell at almost any time, and he's from this Bishop Hell cult. And that's a story Tom got away from in the official storyline, but it was there. So, and I like doing stuff like that with Kronos, like dipping my toes back into old stories and kind of bringing them back in a new way. And that's what the Mad Bishop is. He's that guy from the Bishop Hell cult. And everybody, when that bio is read, everybody knows what that means and where he's from. And I'm a big fan of short. You don't have to go into a whole lot of explanation of why this guy's here and what he's here to do. It's pretty simple. So yeah, I agree. Two of my favorite characters, Mad Bishop and Mad Jester and Bishop Hell, and a new way to keep the spirit of Bishop Hell alive in the game, and Mad Jester, but especially Bishop Hell, because I feel like he's really he's been there. He's kind of like that, almost like Wolf, where he's kind of always been there, a version of him.
Right.
Brock and myself have talked about this a few times. Is we thought Tom could have done so much more with the Royal Court and kept it going, or bring it back in different incarnations, and he never did. Once he brought it in, he just kind of let it go to the wayside. And
I 100% agree.
It was such a fun thing you could have
really,
did.
He did. He kind of did bring him back with Exo King, Death Knight, and Lady Killer Queen.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it wasn't any kind of strong emphasis on the robotic parts the way these guys are
Right.
written. But I agree. I thought that was a great. There, you could say that about. We could go to a whole humongous long discussion about that, about masked assassins. These guys versions could still be around to this day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And those were excellent ideas. And, I mean, some of that still exists, like with Saber, CTA guys, but I agree. There's lots of cool factions. And the Royal Court, especially with everything he's done, there could have been like a Mad Jester coming back and all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, I agree. So Ace of Diamonds, obviously, I think people for almost ever have been wanting a Jack of Diamonds update. And that might still be something that they get officially, like in Centra and in Mike's own vision, but this was mine. And my very first, when I first thought of doing these guys, he was Jack of Diamonds. And then I immediately, like the first day, I hit me Ace of Diamonds. And the description is exactly the same. In the original description I sent Werner, that shield that's an ace was a jack. And like within 24 hours, it clicked in my head. And I like that better because I like leaving that mystery there. Is this really Jack of Diamonds, or is this could be a totally new guy? And you could treat him that way. You could team them up, Jack of Diamonds and Ace of Diamonds together if you wanted to.
Could that be anything like teaming up Comrade Terror and Dreadnought?
Greatest tag team of all time.
Because that's happened.
If it's on Kronos, you can do it. But and the other thing I liked about him was he has a bit of a heel edge to him. He's got the out of the ring with no cover, intentionally done. Because out of the three, I think I went into his details of his robotic implants the most. He's got that that implant that helps him with the ace in the hole on defense, sensory, illegal sensory. So cool stuff. Cool stuff for a baby face, because Jack of Diamonds was a baby face. So this is like almost like a darker version of him. And then I gave him blonde hair just to kind of change it up so it didn't look exactly like him. Yeah, he's awesome. And he can I threw that little thing in there about Raven, because I think a lot of people liked it. I didn't play CPC a whole lot. CPC wasn't my thing back then, but I know to people who did, Jack of Diamonds versus Raven was like a big deal. And I try to honor history with characters as best I can. So yeah. He should be. He's in my Fed. He's fought Cosmos, and I think he lost to him the first time they fought. They're very good matches. He's not obviously he's not on Cosmos's level, but he's very strong. And these guys all three of these guys had to be very strong because they're the protectors of the king on Kronos. And you know, I'm a big believer in like create the characters you're creating. Like don't. I can't make three stooges be the guys who are protecting the crown, the king. They had to be strong characters.
Right.
Storyline wise, like this Exo Knight, we don't know a lot about him. He's a young wrestler from Altar, and he's basically like a Frankenstein monster. They put all these robotic implants in him. They put this mask on him. Who knows what the mask does to him? Whatever he used to be, his personality has been completely wiped clean. And he's a brand new fighter, this Exo Knight. So, you know, we don't even know anything about him. It's just tip of the iceberg. But he's got that mission 24/7, 365, protect the king. He does a good job with that 9 distractor rating. He can go in the ring too. And this guy's cool. All three of these guys are cool because it's not about titles. Now, it's your Fed promoter, you do whatever you want, but that's how they're written, where and I think when you get to Kronos, and Kronos is different than Sentra and GWF in the fact that guys don't come and go; they're all there. So if I have this big roster and all these guys are there, they all have to be doing something unique. So you got your guys having your war over here, then you got your guys having your Champions Oath thing over here, which is two different things. And these guys now doing it's not almost like a third force, but not really, but another unique motivation. The College of Kronos had their own motivations, so I like doing that kind of stuff, and that kind of leads us to my next set, which I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do 3 more cards. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'll just say I'm doing something, and it's going to be a brand new direction for not only character wise, but for the whole Kronos as a whole. 3 supremely important characters.
Stat so Solaris is going to be a wrestler?
Pardon me?
I said, so Solaris is going to be a wrestler now?
Solaris is a wrestler on Kronos. Do you know that?
No.
Oh my gosh. Here, let me get him. Hold on. You didn't know that? Oh yeah. He fused with Blazing Skull. Here, let me get him.
Are you doing that just to show off your Detroit Lions shirt?
Oh no, I'm ashamed right now. Don't talk about it. I'm just wearing this because it's warm. I'm not even going to watch the Super Bowl. I'm one of those fans. There it is, right there. Second card.
There he is.
He's quite
Come on,
the
Mike.
buff
You got to
guy.
get caught up.
Yeah, it's a cool story, man. It's a cool story. He's basically forced to reveal a secret that, you know, I don't want to give it away. I don't want to spoil it for people who don't have Kronos yet. But yeah, Solaris wrestles on Kronos. There's a reason. There's a story for it. It's not like AEW where he just pops up for a dream match. All right. No offense to AEW shit. But all right. So where'd we go with this? So yeah, my next set. I'm not ready to spoil anything yet, but I've got the names of the 3 characters. 2 of them are brand new. I don't want to spoil the third one, but it's an update for one of my favorite GWF characters, and I'll just leave it at that. And the story is gonna change Kronos. I think it will. I haven't. I have an idea. I have a rough draft. But yeah, so this is a new faction, and we'll see where it goes. I don't have any release date. I don't have any, especially with the way the mailing works. I don't have any idea. I don't even want to say anything. I almost want to just like mail them out and not say anything. So we'll see how it goes. And the closer I get to that, the more I'll talk about it. But yeah, I wanted to use your show to announce that I will be doing another set. And I love doing these things. When I do 3 at a time like this, like I can do everything else I need to do with the kids and the coaching and everything and work and everything else and not get like when I do full sets, when I did that Chrono set, dude, it was like I had to lock myself in a room and write every night for hours, and it was like another job. This is more like I can enjoy my hobby, and I can still play my game, which is important to me.
Right.
And I'll play a lot more now that football season's over. So,
Awesome.
Oh, it's still got one more game.
well, so I'll tell you about that. My neighbor, 2 houses down, had a party, and we went to his house for both for the Bucks game, yeah, for the Bucks game, and then for that game, and you saw it at halftime. So it was like the greatest halftime of my entire life, and we're all like, some guys are like booking flights to Vegas, calling their buddies, and just celebrating, and just all this. It was, and I was just like, they can't lose this game. And then we, as soon as that third quarter started, we knew it was just this. It was such a nightmare. It was like it's almost hilarious in the most pathetic, sad way possible. But it was like the greatest half of football my entire life, followed by the worst. But you know, whatever, man. That's the life of a Lions fan. The fact that we even got that far is like, who would have ever guessed? You never would have thought that. I mean,
Yeah, it was like 22 years, and they hadn't even won a been
30,
or won a playoff game, and now they made
32 years, 91. I was in high school.
I think they're only going to get better too.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of young guys. Goff is the right guy you want this time. We want that veteran. But everybody they've drafted in the last 2 drafts are still on the team. So very young team, and
they'll be all right.
It came down to a couple plays, but
yeah, that was sad.
Oh, I was just absolutely crushed. The next day I didn't listen to anything. I didn't read anything. I didn't listen to the radio. I didn't talk to anybody about it. Nobody. It was just a nightmare. But that's why sports is great.
Yeah.
It's high, it's the greatest. And then it's low, it breaks your heart. And my kid, my son is a football player. He just got back. What day is today? Sunday? No, Monday. Yesterday, from Florida at the Pro Bowl. He went out there to play in the National Flag Football Tournament because they went out. We took him out to Wisconsin, Green Bay, actually, in April, and they won the whole thing, the regional.
Oh, wow. Congrats
to him. This is what this was. All these teams went to Orlando for the Pro Bowl, and it's the best out there. They played hard. They went 1-3, could have easily gone 3-1, a couple bad bounces, but that's football. But they got to go out there and enjoy big hotel and party and all kinds of cool stuff and meet a bunch of players. It was great. And he's a real lucky kid to be doing that. And then he flew home at 11 a.m. and was playing his local rec game at noon. So the kid loves football. It's amazing. It's because other than wrestling, football's always been my most favorite thing in the whole world. So it's really cool to have a kid who's has that exact insane passion for it. And not just the game, but like the history of it. Like when he went to the Hall of Fame, he played a tournament in the Hall of Fame in Cleveland years ago. He was like 5.5. He's 10 now. And he met Rod Woodson, and it opened his eyes to like he ran home and was like looking up all this stuff on YouTube and learning all about the history of the Super Bowl and just really into it like a sponge. And gives us a lot to talk about, a lot to. And I coached him for years, Now as coaches, he's on teams now that they don't need me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So real coaches. So it's been a lot of fun. And then I got two little guys who are the Brody's about to get into it. We'll see next, probably in the fall. He's only 5. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And my daughter cheers and my daughter does gymnastics. But it's cool because when he plays tackle, she's out there cheering, he's playing. We all go out to ice cream after and go out to dinner, whatever as a family. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played football, I was just average at it, nothing superstarish. And then I got asked one time to coach because I had coached hockey and wrestling for years. And so one of the dads was like, "Hey, have you ever coached football?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "I need a defensive coach." He goes, "You want to give it a shot?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I went on to coach 5 different teams to 5 different championships in 5 years.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah.
And I would say hands down though, football parents are the worst. I don't know about in the US, but in Canada, they are the worst.
Well, yeah, I think that's a lot of sports, but football especially because in my experience, they think we're just taking turns throwing bombs, and it's hard. Football's really super hard, and the kids and it's unfortunate because a lot of the parents, like, they'll have a kid on defense who's great on defense, and because their kid's not the one catching the bombs, they don't think their kid's contributing, and it's like your kid's contributing just as well. Just as much, just in a different way. And that's football. And the older they get, because I started coaching Jake when he was in 6U, 6 and under, and then all the way up to 8 and under. And as the older they get, like once they get to tackle, they put them in a position. That's your position. They don't move. Okay, it's now your turn to play receiver. Now it's your turn. Right. It doesn't work like that. Especially when you get to blocking and have an offensive and defensive lineman. You got to teach your receivers how to block, things like that. So,
and then the toughest thing too was, you get some genetic freak kid. Like I had one kid, he was 12 years old and he was 6'4" and 290 pounds.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, he's not allowed to carry the ball because we put him at a running back one game and he got like 7 touchdowns in the first half. And they're like,
I'll tell you a story about that. Yeah. I had a kid, our weight limit was 130 for running the ball. And I had this kid at 130, and you wouldn't think he was running back, but he got out there and he could run and he was fast and he was just big. And I told him, it's going to be tough to hit that 130 every Sunday or every Saturday, whatever it was. And in passing, I was like, you should probably lose 5 or 10 pounds if you want to be a running back. And he was cool. And it got back to his mom, and she took it the wrong way. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like that at all. No. At all. Strict coaching, because what happened was he was taking a break and we were working on other running backs because if he can't go because of his weight, we got to have other running backs. And he asked me, "Coach, am I going to get back in there?" And I explained to him, "This is why, if you want to be RB1, you should probably lose 5 or 10 pounds." And anyway. So talking about parents, that's why I bring that up. Yeah, and it was like, dude, I'm trying to help your kid. I'm coaching him. By no stretch of the imagination is it like demeaning at all. But anyway, and I guess I get it as a parent, but it's tough because it's easy. Like I love my kid and we call it 50 balls every day because he's a receiver, so his hands. And I love coaching my own kid. I could sit there and we could sit there and watch videos and be like, okay, watch, because now he's been playing quarterback now for his rec team. So we'll watch together. But once you get 30 of those kids, and that's why flag is cool, because you only got like 8 to 10 of them. And if you get 8 to 10 who really like look up to you and like listen to hang on every word, it's fun and it's easy because if you go out there and you're winning, but tackle's a whole other thing, and there's all these other coaches involved, and it's a lot of fun. But I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore. Jake's going to be playing for a new tackle team this fall. This will be the second tackle program he's been on, and new one. But this one he actually got recruited to, much like how he got recruited to that travel flag team that went out to Wisconsin.
That's cool.
Yeah, so good. It's nice. It's nice having something, and then we play Madden together a lot. That's a lot of fun too.
Okay, So our Mount Rushmore topic of the week is your favorite conspiracy theories.
Ooh.
Since I'm a bit of a conspiracy, guy. I'm going to take the ones that I'm a fan of, and I've actually ended up having chats with one of the guys I used to, I had wrestled on some cards with, and then ran into him again in I think Cleveland, and we talked a lot because we both had the same interests. And I'm going to start off with UFOs.
Okay.
I am a firm believer on, there's over 1 million other planets. Somebody's got to have life.
Oh yeah.
And that was Paul London. Paul London is a huge, huge UFO fan.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't surprise me to hear that.
No, and that's one of the reasons why him and Kendrick were stuck together as a tag team, because one of them believed in UFOs, the other believed in the same thing, which was Bigfoot.
Wow.
And so
Another classic.
so that they would, and I'm also I'm pretty much Bigfoot's bitch. If I see on Discovery Channel, oh, there's people hunting for Bigfoot, I'm watching it. I know they're not going to find anything, but I'm still going to watch that 1 hour program.
Just in case.
Yeah. And so that's how those two end up getting partnered up, because they would literally travel and look for things on their way from show to show. They would drive together looking things up.
I did not know that.
And so, yeah, I'm, especially in North America, Canada, second largest country in the world. We only inhabited like the first little bit on that border. Then there's, thousands of miles. No one lives there but forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be all kinds of things in there. There could be dinosaurs in Canada.
Hell, we got the world's largest beaver dam at 800 and something meters long.
Yeah, you can see it from space.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. Very informative show.
Yeah. But Broc runs his YouTube show on his on Twitch, and that was somebody paid for a Canadian fact.
Yeah, we did Canadian trivia on there.
Yeah. Until Brock said it, and all the Canadian guys were like, "Yeah, it's true," and all the American guys were like, "No, that's not true." Yeah, it's almost a kilometer long.
Wow. I'll have to YouTube or Wikipedia that, read about it. Look it up.
My next big conspiracy, I actually did a paper on it in school, and it was the assassination of JFK.
Tom was into that one big time.
And who did it? And my leanings were I thought it was a mob hit.
Yeah.
So I had to show my work on how I got there, and that's the one thing I thought. I thought the mob killed JFK because he was set to put on some put some heat on those guys.
I think I read about that theory.
Yeah. And that I did that in 1990, even before the movie came out. So,
Wow.
like I said, and this was back before computers, so I had to go to microfiche and look up newspapers and
I remember the fish.
yeah.
So I have a quick question for you, since you brought up UFOs. Did you follow the story from a few weeks ago about the 10-foot aliens in the mall?
No,
I had heard briefly on it, but I
didn't even hear this.
Yeah, and it popped up on Chris Jericho's podcast. He had, and I had just started to listen to it, so I had just started to check things out on that.
There was
Is that in
video.
Brazil?
So what it was there was video of, I don't know how many, a ton of police cars coming to this mall, like more than you've ever seen. And the story was there was a teenagers fighting, but there were reports coming out of the mall that there was 10-foot, these black 10-foot aliens with these shiny eyes. And you have to read about it, but there was no videos, there was nothing. So I just, I'm not saying I believed in anything. I'm just saying I thought that was a fun and interesting story. And then it went away. And whenever something just goes away and there's no history about it, I think it's always interesting.
And also with the day and age of everybody has a video camera now.
Right?
phone.
Yeah, there should have been something.
So stuff like that's interesting. I mean, it is what it is, you know, nothing
Yeah.
to do about it, but I think it's fun to read about. I like thriller type stuff. You know, it's hard to find good movies nowadays. I'll scour Netflix, you know, for hours. I'll sit there for 40 minutes, watch a movie before I decide it's horrible. And every once in a while I come across a good one. So I'm a big reader. I read a lot. So I like to read like mystery, like Reddit mystery, unexplained stuff like that. And it's not, like I said, it's not that I even believe in any of it. It's just fun. Just
Yep.
It's a different form of fun for me.
My another one is something I've been fascinated since I saw a movie and read about him when I was like 10 years old. DB Cooper. Did he survive?
Which
Hmm.
one was that? Is that the money? The guy with the money in the airplane?
Yeah, he jumped
Okay,
out of the
yeah.
back of the airplane with $250,000 and
Yeah. Is
They
that a
cleared that up in
conspiracy
Loki.
theory? Or is that just a mystery?
it's a mystery, but some people say he died, some people say he lived. I've heard things where you know, it was a setup, you know, he was one of the pilots. There's all kinds of different, you know, rumors and things surrounding him. So I don't really know if it's a conspiracy or you know,
Urban
it's a
legend,
mystery,
maybe.
but once you start getting different endings, you know, and people start guessing, you know, it can follow up.
They
Yeah,
made
it's a good
Loki
story.
DB Cooper in the first season of Loki on Disney Plus. He was DB Cooper.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Yeah, it was a dare from somebody. I thought it was funny.
I watched Loki. I don't remember it.
It was a really quick, like 10-second scene. They're just going through all these different historical things that just didn't make sense, and it was him basically every time.
What do you guys have on your lists?
Well, I like Bigfoot stuff. Like I was telling you guys off air, I have read those missing 411 books. Not for years. When they originally came out, I read them. Um, I the UFO stuff, I am not. I don't. I almost want to. I almost want to think it's a lot of it's like military crafts,
Mhm.
things that like we're not privy to. I'm not big on. We have to know everything, like what's going on. Like I'm sure there's reasons to keep it quiet. So I
Right.
think a lot of that could be like military testing and things like that. As for the idea of aliens, I don't see why it's not. It is what it is, I guess, is my point. Like if they're there, they're there, and if not, they're not. But um, Bigfoot is a good one. I'm trying to think of Ghost of Terror,
Aliens.
Alien.
aliens. Yeah, and it's funny because you know I love this game so much. Part of that reason, the sci-fi aspect of it, but I don't put a lot of thought into science fiction, space, aliens at all. It's just not something I think about. I think what else you know, I don't know if this is no, that's not really a conspiracy theory. I was gonna say talk about how like the ocean is so unexplored. There's so much down there. Like I like I like reading about and seeing pictures of um fish that they get real deep in the ocean and then they talk about there's even more they haven't explored. Kind of how we were talking about like with the woods, how when
Yeah.
Bruce drive to Jamestown, there's just so much woods. Um I think it's possible that almost anything could exist, is my point.
Yeah, especially in
Um
the ocean.
yeah, and if
I
aliens
don't think the
exist,
megalodon
cool,
exists.
man. Like,
He's there.
you know, like all the
If a
species
megalodon
around us, like
existed,
what do
there'd be
yeah, I believe it. I don't know specifics, but sure I could believe in that stuff.
They're too deep for us to explore. It could be
Yeah, and
anything.
I'm not a big ocean guy. Just too much, you know, undertow and stuff like that.
Well, look at
So
what happened with that Titanic wreckage crew just about a year ago. They weren't
yeah,
even
that
that
was
deep.
yeah,
They didn't even
it
get that
imploded or
deep.
something.
hmm So that's like
Yeah,
it'd be
that's
really
freaky.
hard to explore.
It just seems scary to be underwater.
Yeah.
Underwater.
Really
Like,
hard to get lost. Really easy to get lost.
I
'Cause you
read
can't
about
see.
those stories. People go like into caves and then they get stuck and they never
Mhm.
come out. And I'm like,
Nope.
I just feel like a really super smart person when I read those. I'm like, I have Xbox. I just sit here on my couch with Xbox. I'll get stuck in a cave. So like, I don't understand the thrill some people are looking for. I don't know
Yeah.
why you want to go underwater in a sub
hmm
or wedge yourself into a cave, but whatever.
To
Be
to
friends with
watch a
somebody.
camera on a screen because you can't actually see anything. You
That's
can
what
watch that camera from the land.
James Miller, a guy we all know from Galacticon.
Yeah.
He spent like 10 years on a sub.
Wow.
He,
That's
he was
incredible.
he was in the Navy in a submarine.
Hmm.
That was his job, and I'm like, dude, I couldn't do it.
God bless him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do
That's
that.
incredible. No, I couldn't do that. I'm not built for that. No way.
And I think Matthew Butcher served some time in a sub. He said too.
Yeah, wasn't he a Navy SEAL or something? Or is that?
He was in the Navy. He wasn't a SEAL, but
Oh,
he
okay.
he, he, had, he had joined the Navy. Because I had talked to him about that.
Okay. Okay.
But I could be wrong. But I think he said he did a bit on a sub. And I'm like,
Ask him. I haven't seen him since two Galacticons ago, I guess. Whenever we were in Chicago.
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah. That's just something I couldn't do.
Mm-mm.
Are you guys gonna go to Galacticon this summer?
I
Oh yeah,
hope
it's in
to.
Jamestown.
College. At the college, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it should be cool.
Yeah.
I'm coming down with Chris Sinclair, who came to
Oh yeah, you
a
mentioned
couple
this
of
at
them.
the VCon. That's right. And Rob.
Yep, and Rob Nadon is coming
That'll be
down.
cool. I don't think I've ever met him in person.
If you were at the first five,
Oh yeah, I was. I was
then
at the second one.
then you would have met him.
And I think I was at all of them. I just the first one was the only one I ever missed.
Yeah.
Forever. Until I was like, I don't even know. And then I missed once it got away from Jamestown
Yeah,
and it was in Moleskyville, whatever they call it, Pennsylvania. And what is it called? You know what I'm talking about.
Philadelphia.
It was
Philadelphia,
there twice.
Pennsylvania, that little triangle.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, that it was there twice. Then I went out to one in Pittsburgh,
That wasn't Pittsburgh either, though.
and it was like
That's where the
right,
purge
it was
happened.
like a Sons of Anarchy, like
Yeah.
behind like this train station, like this.
If I had to get a hotel when it was in Pittsburgh, we had a problem because
Dude, I just remember Matt almost killing us on that highway, that Matchbox highway at crisscross, and just like slamming on
there's
his brakes.
no
Like, at the last
guardrails on
second.
those roads. You're just like,
Oh my god, dude! He'd be flying, go, and he'd just slam on his brakes. It was like I like almost hit the windshield, and oh my god, man! Riding people's butts. I don't know, like that dude's nuts.
that wasn't Pittsburgh. Just for the
Yeah, it
record.
was when we went to the Pirates game, wherever that was. But yeah, that was. I don't know what it was like. 45 minutes away. It was just like behind this train station, like motorcycle gang hideout slash
It was interesting.
shipping yard, and this little hole in the wall. I was like, all right,
Yeah, it was funny.
Fine.
We went out just we didn't know where it was. We live in Pittsburgh. Our address was actually Pittsburgh at the time. We, and we drove out, we're like, where are we? We ended up getting a hotel that night because we didn't want to have to drive back out the next day.
Oh, Galacticon.
Good times. But yeah, I'm
So
glad it's
what-
back in Jamestown. Worst case scenario, I'll be there for Saturday. I might come up and drive back. It's only like a 2-hour drive for me. So
Oh, that's nice. I think it's still like 5 hours for here.
what about you, Brock? What are your little conspiracies?
I like Bigfoot, aliens. One of my favorite ones to like just look up stuff for is the Mandela effect. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one.
Isn't that where you hear something or see it and it just keeps happening over and over again?
It's where you remember things incorrectly, but like all the masses, like everybody else also remembers things
the
incorrectly.
whole Luke, I'm your father.
Yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But there's some people get really deep into it where they think like there's time travel and alternate dimensions involved, and like people are messing with the timeline and stuff like that.
Yeah, I worked with a guy who thought Adolf Hitler was still alive because they never found his body because someone went back in time and removed him. I'm like, oh my
Possible.
God.
Well, it got the name Mandela effect because everybody has this memory of Nelson Mandela being assassinated in prison, which
No,
didn't
I know he
happen.
got out. And he became the prime minister of South Africa.
But that's where the name comes from because everybody, for some reason, has that. Hey, how did Nelson Mandela die? Oh, he was murdered in prison, but never happened.
I remember reading about the Berenstain Bears, the spelling of it,
Yeah, yeah,
and
that
then
was
the
one of the big
Fruit
ones.
Those are the two that I recall.
Yeah,
And it,
it was what is it? It's the Berenstein Bears, but it's Berenstein.
yeah, I forget what the actual one is.
And we had all those books when we were kids. I had all those
Hmm.
books. I couldn't tell you which one
And
is
Curious
right or
George,
wrong.
did he have a tail or did he not have a tail?
We didn't have a tail.
He's a chimp.
He's a chimp. Yeah, he's not a lemur.
I'm just looking at some other ones, like the way Oscar Mayer is spelled.
But is that a conspiracy, or is that along the lines of my DB Cooper of, is it real?
Yeah, it depends
Yeah,
on
and that
how
could
deep
just
you
be
want to get
they
into it.
change it just to keep their name in the, I don't know, who knows, some weird viral marketing. I don't put anything past like people who are in charge of getting their like Hollywood or marketing people whose job is to get the public's eye on them. They'll do anything, and if they
Hmm.
Well, that's a
change their
conspiracy now.
branding and say they never changed it's getting people talking. I can see like behind the scenes them describing it as a certain way of marketing their stuff.
Oh yeah, that'd be like Febreze. The spelling is there's like several different ways people spell it, so that could be marketing, like Febreze, and then
Yeah, if you stop talking about Febreze after 10 years, what's a better way to like, oh yeah, Febreze.
yep,
I never heard of that one, but
exactly.
that makes sense.
And then I love the flat Earth stuff.
Oh,
That's probably my favorite. It just cracks me up.
flat Earth, moon landings.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that one. I think it's because it was so much before my time.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't get into the 911 stuff. I just feel like it's too big, and it doesn't interest me enough. It just seems like I don't want to relive it. I guess I don't because I remember
Yeah, I
exactly
get
what
that.
happened. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Hmm.
Or like when people talk about like school shootings, I don't want to read about it. There's
Yeah.
certain stuff I don't want to read about, whether it is or isn't. I don't want to get into it. So
Hmm.
Bigfoot's fun, UFOs are fun,
Yep.
10-foot aliens at the mall are fun.
Right.
Stuff like that. We could talk about what about in the game? What about the Dark Menace, like taking over the gladiators and completely like driving them into the ground? Is that a conspiracy theory? I don't
It
know.
is. Yeah, there's a lot of fun ones, but you can get pretty dark with it too.
Oh, I'm
Oh yeah.
sure. And I think people can go a little nutty, taking
Hmm.
stuff too seriously.
Yeah, there was a guy that I knew from work who would go inside every time a plane would go by because of the chemtrails
Oh yeah.
behind behind the plane.
Yeah. That's another big one see people talking about a lot.
Hmm.
I don't know enough about it to comment on it, but I know that's a
Me
big
neither.
flat Earth. I don't know anything about it. Don't know where it came from. Don't know how it could even be a thing. Don't know how it's
It's
possible, but apparently it
it's
is.
it's been around forever.
Hmm.
I
But
guess I've been
Christopher
busy
Columbus
playing this
debunked that.
dice game to notice half of the stuff. So, first
Pretty
time I
sure
heard
flat
that one, I
Earth.
was just like, "What? How do you?" And you think to yourself, like, "God, I'm on the same highway with these people driving a car."
Right? Good
But
times.
Bad enough.
we should wrap this up here.
All
All
right.
right, yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again. Thanks, Rob, for being here. Looking forward to the next set.
Yeah, and again, no timetable on that. Just getting, I'm in the very, very early stages, but it's
Okay.
exciting stuff.
Good, good. We're excited. If it's anything like the first two, it'll be a hit.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. And thank you on behalf of the entire community for getting that out there to everybody. That's a very generous thing that you did. Just getting that out there to the masses. It's a really awesome thing. So yeah, thank you as
Appreciate it.
for the community.
Well, thank you. Thanks for still enjoying my stuff.
Always.
Oh yeah.
So
And
yeah,
how can people get a hold of your sets?
Um,
If
Pretty
you still
much
have any
through the
left?
board, PM me. That's the best way. I don't have like a website. I don't, I've thought about creating a brand new board just for my bootleg stuff for like getting in contact with me and because it can be hard to find my stuff or anybody's stuff for that matter in the board. So I might just make something, but that'll come later. But for now, just email me or PM me. PM me on the board is probably the best.
right on.
Will do.
Cool, cool.
I'm usually happy to send out the PDF. Um, right now, I'm out of cards. I got to print some more, but I'm happy to give the PDF to whoever might want it.
Excellent.
Well, hey, selling out's always a good thing.
Yeah, I
Right?
don't print too many. A little over 100, and I figure that's usually where it lands, anyways. There's always a few new people that come on and asking around, but I don't want to get into the business of having a bunch of stuff laying around or spending more than I need to.
Yeah, that's understandable. Stuff's not cheap.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But it's a labor of love for sure.
For sure. All right. So while you're here, if you have not done so, please click the subscribe button below. It's like right here. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and scroll on down to the description where you'll find all of our friends who make Filsinger Games related content, including the official Filsinger Games podcast, Roll Up, the Legends team's Uncharted Territory, Dizzy Dice from Lee Longpre, Grant's Filsinger Games Fancast, which he just started back up again. Also on YouTube, you'll find Grant's solo promoter, Dave Little's Heartland Championship Wrestling, Brad Plays 81, and Bucky 749. On Twitch, I am there Sunday nights. Hopefully, I'll be back soon. We're still in the adjustment period with the new baby. Don't really have time to prepare much for Twitch. I'll be back there hopefully soon on Sundays at 9 p.m. Yeah, so as always, if you have any Filsinger Games related content you'd like us to share in our description, just let one of us know, and we'd be happy to include it as well. That's all I've got.
Night, everyone.
Have a great one.